turn it over to them right now. Let me see if I can make them big. Okay. Oh, there we go. All righty. Perfect.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
We're going to talk about play that you can do outside of a therapy session. And we're going to talk about things that are developmentally appropriate for the age of your children, your preschool children. My name is Jean Rear. I've been in the OT profession for many years. I provide the therapy services here in District 127 and a half at Ridge Central and at Finley. There's another practitioner over at Ridge Lawn. Her name is Julie.
My name is Dina Jason. I'm the physical therapist that provides your physical therapy services to Chicago Ridge, both Lawn and Ridge Central.
All right, the first thing we want to do is if you were able to pick up any of the paper packets or the bag of goodies that we had available, the packet looked like this. There's actually two sections to it. In there is something called How I Learn Milestones. And this really just gives you a brief overview of what the things during development that should happen with our children. And it goes all the way up to 8 years old. It's okay if your child is 4 and they're not doing everything in the 4-year-old section. It's just an overview, but it lets you know that we build on skills that we start at and add on to them. So, you know, from when your children were infants, they rolled, they crawled, then they sat. So that's kind of what this is. It goes in that kind of an order.
And I'll just kind of go off of that. If you have any questions when we're doing this little presentation, we're very informal. There's a little chat box at the bottom. You can hit the chat box and we'll try to answer your question either at that time or at the end of the presentation. I'm going to go over some gross motor. Gross motor, as we all know, is running, jumping, kicking, crawling. But in order to do that, we have to, children have to develop and learn and build up their bodies. So you need certain muscles to do that. And I like to look at what a child's job is. Their job is to play. Everyone has a job. I provide services to the children at Ridge Central and Ridge Lawn. A child's job is to play. When they play, they learn a lot of great things. Play helps to increase the child's focus, their strength, their attention, help them understand their body a little bit more. I'm going to show you some different ways to play and different positions to have your child play in to help develop their body and get it stronger so that they're able to build on their gross motor and fine motor skills. First position I'm going to do is called prone, and that's just laying on your stomach. So prone we know from when a child is a baby's tummy time. Well, tummy time can continue all the way up into adulthood. I do tummy time myself too. Strengthen my back and stretch my muscles. What you want to do is you just have your kiddo lay on the ground. And you can do many things when they're on the ground. And I just have some plastic cups. Everyone has cups laying around at their house, so we can cups out. And they can lay down, and you can have them reach cups, knock the cups over, have them stack cups, knock it over, have them reach over one side, put it on the other side. Don't be afraid to get down on the ground with them, and you can be face to face. You can book with them, you can color with them. And this is hard because you'll be laying down. You'll see that it's a lot of work. You can take a pillow. You can put the pillow underneath their stomach. It's a little easier for them. If the pillow is not enough, you can couple towel rolls or blanket roll. And roll that up underneath them too. That'll just give them a little bit of support, and then they can their cups. If you have a little toy they want to play with, anything. This position is really good. It helps to build
your shoulder muscles, muscles in your back, in your bottom, in your tummy. All these muscles are needed for standing, walking, sitting. So playing on your stomach is really a good position to do. You can also, if you wanted, you could roll a ball. If they're laying there, you can just kind of roll a ball back and forth to them. Have them throw it. Anything like that. And like I said, if you get on the ground with them, you'll see how much work they're really doing. And after that, we're going to go into sitting. Everybody says we need to do all of our lives. Have to sit here, sit at school, do our work. A lot of children, they don't realize how much work sitting is. And some children will sit in what we call a W sit. What my legs look like now, and then they just sort of fall back like this. This is not a good position to sit in at all. Not encourage W sit. Strains your knees, strains your hips, and it doesn't really work your muscles and your stomach or your back. You can see I'm sort of crouched over. It's hard for me to write. So we do not encourage this. We encourage any other type of sitting, like a side sit, which would be great. Play, color, do a puzzle, read a book. If they're watching TV, have them sit like this in a side sit, or they can just do a ring sit. This way they can sit up really tall. And they can, if they're watching television, they can do that. You can throw balls back and forth, and read a book. Many things you can do in sitting. Play a puzzle, and then if they're really good at sitting and you want to challenge them a little bit, you can bring back that pillow and have them sit on a pillow. What the pillow will do is just sort of make them move their body a little bit back and forth, and you're looking, and that will do some balance responses and helps you build up their muscles a little bit. So if your child is really good at sitting or really good at another position, add a pillow up underneath it. That'll make it a little bit harder and challenge them a little bit. From sitting, we're going to go into what we call 4-point, which just means hands and knees. This position is really good. It helps to strengthen your shoulders again, your hips again, your stomach, and your back. So, like different toys like this, you can, again, mention the ball. This is one of the supplies that we put in the packets that everyone picked up is a beach ball. But you can have them roll the ball back and forth to you. Okay. And again, we have plastic cups. So we can set up our plastic cups, have them unstack them. And they can be stacked. Different things like that. They can knock it down. From we have crawling. So crawling is a lot of fun. You can have relay races in the house or outside. You can have them crawl. Maybe have one down here. Or you can even race against them. Crawl all the way down. Turn it around. Down. Go ahead and get another one, and maybe do it like 4 times. And the first one to build their power wins that race. Another thing you can do is you can throw. These are just rolled up socks. Trying to use things that are just around our house. You can have them like this. You can have them throw socks. And you could have them clean up their room maybe. If there's toys around, you can have them fall into a toy, pick up their toy, put it in the bucket.
things like that. Anything to get them moving and working on their own. The next position is called tall kneeling. So this position here, this is one of my favorite positions. Want to make sure that we're straight, not back like this. I'm sorry, so tall kneeling is you're just going to be like this. They might have a hard time doing this at first. So if you have a laundry basket or a box, you can put that over and they can start like this. Then they can play. Have them play at a table. Have them play just laundry baskets at a couch. Maybe reaching for their toys. That's a good thing. Working on something a little bit higher. I have a step stool. So you have a step stool, then you can put something here. Maybe they could do a puzzle, read a book, help you put away things. Also, in tall kneeling, you can do throwing in the basket again. That's real easy. Again, relay races. Maybe you put all of your socks at one end. You're gonna race them down. They're gonna walk as fast as they can down, grab a sock, come back, throw it in, and you can incorporate this into cleaning up, anything fun. If children have a job, they like to be involved. They want to be with you, so that would really help to get them more involved with you and just being around you and playing and working on their muscles and not even knowing that they're working on their muscles. If they're good at tall kneeling, what you can do then, like I said, is have them tall kneel on a pillow, and they can play catch with a ball on the pillow. If beach ball's easy, then you can switch to a playground ball, or you can switch to, if you don't have a ball, you can just use the socks. Just throw the socks back in. Sock is smaller, so that's going to be a little bit harder. Kids like repetition. It might be boring for us, but they like to keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and that's good because it helps make their muscles strong. From tall kneeling, we're going to go into half kneel, just like this. Half kneel is a position, it's a hard position for balance, but it's a real good position for muscle control and trunk control. This is our trunk. We don't have good trunk control, we'll kind of fall over a little bit like this. So all of the activities that I mentioned before can be done in half kneel. So you can have them at a table playing, you can do throwing, reaching for things. The other thing you can do is if you're outside, you can still take some of the chalk and you can even color like this. You'll be getting some good weight into your legs and your arms and you can color. Magnets and or alphabet letters on the refrigerator is another good thing. You could just hang magnets on the refrigerator. And then from half kneel, they transition or move into standing. And in standing, so now that we're in standing, we can think of a lot of different fun things to do. When our kids are walking, it's awesome, it's fun. Standing balance is something else we need to work on. So if there's standing balance is good, you can, if we're stuck inside on a rainy day, you can take a towel, and hold it up, and this is now my balance beam. So I'm going to set my balance beam down, and we're going to walk across the balance beam. Walk across, and we want to pick up a toy or something over here, walk back over this way, pause, throw it in the basket that way. That is easy. We can take 2 towels. And we can make it so it's sort of a squiggly shape. Now we got to walk the maze. don't want to fall off. Okay. Then you're working on some of your balance reactions, all those little fine muscles, and they're having fun. Outside, since the weather's starting to get nice, there's a lot of great opportunities there. You can play at the park. The park, they have those park dividers or railroad ties, so you can use that as a balance beam. You can have them walk across. If they're good just regular walking, then maybe have them do so that their toes have to touch. They have to walk like this. Their toes. Like I said, repetition is good. If they're doing something well, just try to make it a little bit harder for them. Whether it's adding them, if they're walking across it, and that's easy, maybe have them carry a flower that they picked. Carrying objects helps to challenge your balance as well. So walking along the sidewalk, there's the cracks on the sidewalk. They can walk on the sidewalk cracks. There's the edge of the grass and the sidewalk. The grass edge, they can walk on that too for balance. Stand there, don't fall off. That's another good thing. Uneven surfaces. So if it's walking on the grass is great. Don't be afraid to take off their shoes and let them walk on the grass without their shoes and socks on. That's real good for their muscles, and it sort of wakes up their little sensations. Walk if you're at the beach. Take off your shoes, let them walk in the sand at the beach, so that good little sensory input makes them a little more aware of what's going on with their feet, and have a little bit more control with their feet and develop those little fine muscles in their feet. You're at home, you could use towels again. You could set up an obstacle course and put like a couple pillows down and have them walking on the pillows. This is a movable surface. This is a hard surface. And you go over to another movable surface, a hard surface. If you're around and you're safe with adult supervision, you can have them walking on the couch. That's a real movable surface that gets them balance responsive. Just make sure the adult is always around me when it would fall on the couch. Now, the next thing that we work on is stairs. Not everyone has access to the stairs in their house, but we have access outside. We have, again, at the park, we have those railroad ties. Step up on it, just practice stepping up and down. A lot of playground equipment has stairs. Went up and down the playground equipment. And if your child is a new stair walker, make sure you're there for supervision. We want anyone following. At home, sometimes we have step stools. So what you can have them do is put an adult next to them, have them step up, and then they can step up again. And then maybe they're helping you at the kitchen sink, doing dishes or playing with water, and then step down. Other thing you can do is just maybe just have them step up, put a little sticker on the wall. Or if you have the magnetic letters, step up, put a letter on the fridge, step down. Just that repetition, up and down, that'll help to build this ring, get them able to do their stairs more independently. If you don't have a step stool, I just have a hardcover book. So you can just put the book down. It's a good thing to start, and they could just step up on the book and then step down. So they can just have a step up, step down, step up, step down. Maybe you want to have, you can set up an obstacle course. You could have them walk on their pillow, cross the bridge on the book. They come over and they get a sock. They're going to bring it back over to the other side, up and down. Like I said, a lot of repetition with kiddos. Puzzles are a great thing to work on. You can put the puzzle on one side, the pieces on the other, make an obstacle course, and they have to go back and forth. They'll love to do that. If you want them to help you clean up laundry, they could put it in the laundry basket. That's another great thing to do. I think that's about it for the stairs gross motor. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over some, we provided in the packet ball and bubbles. So all these activities that we're gonna do now can be done in the various positions that I showed you. We're gonna first do some ball activities. Okay, so we provided a beach ball, so you can just throw back and forth. This is after you throw it a couple times, then maybe little Jimmy's starting to seem like he's losing interest. So then maybe you just move around a little bit. So you just kind of so Jimmy's over there and he's throwing it, and I'm moving around and I'm like, oh, here I go, I'm moving over here. Oh no, where am I gonna go next? Here I am. And then you just try to, oh no, over here. And then another position you can do is, like I said before, the tall kneeling. And here you can have them throw it over their head. Oops. They could throw it over their head. This really works on their back muscles, works on their balance, that kind of thing. Also, so there's throwing and catching you can do with the ball. You can also kick with the ball. So there's stationary kick. Just kick it if they're just learning how to kick. If it's stationary, so we just start off with it not moving, and then they're just going to kick it on the mat. Or if you want, you can hold the tower and they might take the ball and they're going to kick over the tower. Another one is now, after they got the stationary kick down pretty good, they're going to roll it. So then you can roll the ball to them, and then they'll kick the ball. Rolls and kick. Now a beach ball is a little bit easier to do inside than a playground ball. So beach ball can be done inside and outside. We also have a playground ball. They're a little bit smaller and they're a little bit heavier. So these, you might want to play with these outside so that nothing will get broke. But they can do the same thing. The smaller ball is going to be a little bit more challenging. So they can kick the ball. And if they're good, then they might be want to stop the ball and then kick, or they just kick the ball. And same with catching. Catching the smaller ball will just make it a little bit more challenging. You don't have a ball at home? We always have socks. So you can roll up some socks and you can play catch with a sock. Right? Throwing, something else you can do is throwing at a target. There, you want to stand a couple feet away and then you can kind of throw it at their target. You can start off with a sock and move up to the beach ball. You can have them do it in all the different positions that I showed you before. Laying on your stomach, on your knees, on hands and knees. All of those positions would be great for strengthening and working on coordination of using both of your arms and your legs at the same time. So if you have the beach ball, you're just going to throw it at the target, and then maybe they try to catch it back. Okay. The other thing is maybe they're not quite ready for catching, but they're ready to at least start their ball skills. So maybe you want to sit down and just roll the ball back and forth with them. You just roll it back and forth. And this is real good because you're interacting with your child, that reciprocal play with a partner. These are all good skills to sort of get them ready for school and be able to interact with their friends and learn turn taking. And then if that's easy, then maybe you could do it in side sitting like this, or ring sitting. Either way, all of these positions for sitting is better than at W sitting. The other thing we provided was bubbles. Bubbles is an easy, inexpensive way to entertain kiddos, and they love bubbles. You can blow bubbles we can clap and pop our bubbles. So you're clapping, popping. They're learning bilateral hand coordination.
You're doing visual tracking. You're keeping their focus on something.
And sometimes you can get tricky and catch a bubble, and you can have them pop a bubble. And if you want him to pop it with a certain hand, let's say you notice, oh, he doesn't seem to be using his left hand as much. I'm gonna catch a bubble and say, oh no, you're gonna use that hand, pop. So you can have a lot of good control of your bubbles. They can try to catch them themselves. Stomp on those bubbles. Bubbles can be done inside or outside. So the other good thing about bubbles, and we never think about it because we're adults, we just do it, but when the children start to learn how to blow the bubbles, they learn how to coordinate and breath control to make the bubbles work. So they have to learn how to breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. So bubbles are a real good thing. Like I said, they can be done inside and outside. One good thing about bubbles is sometimes they spill all over. One thing I didn't talk about was jumping and hopping. Sometimes jumping and hopping comes along different ages, different stages for each kid, but we'll just kind of touch on it a little bit. If you got a jumper at home, and you like to jump, then you can just bring up those towels again, and a couple of them in a row. Have them jump over towels. You're gonna have towels, you can just use masking tape. You use you're walking outside, they can jump over the cracks in the sidewalk. So that you can start off holding their hands, or they might just want to do it on their own. If they're at the playground, they can jump off of those playground guards that we're talking about, or those railroad ties. So that's gross motor. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to use the chat or the chat little box, and we can kind of get to them. On over, I'm going to talk a little bit about fine motor.
So we really tried to focus on home-based opportunities. So we all get these sale papers all the time in the mail. They kind of can be a nuisance. However, with the kids, you can have them open it up, bilateral component to that, and let them rip it. Just let them have a good time, ripping up the paper, using both of those arms together. And then see if they can make a ball out of it. And then, like Mrs. Jason was talking about, they can use this as a ball to throw into a target. And they might miss, like I do. But to keep doing that is such a good, again, repetition for getting those arms to work together. The other thing it does is the bigger the paper, the more distance you have to use your arms together to be able to tear it. The really important thing, it extends away from our bodies, and that understanding of we're not just here, we can go out of our bodies. They can play catch, they can throw at each other, all kinds of cool stuff. The other thing that's in your bags is chalk. Chalk's one of my favorite things, especially in summertime, because you can do so much with chalk. So you see that we have the target up here. But the children in preschool are learning all kinds of wonderful things, like their shapes and directions and up and down and back and forth, and all of that can be done on the sidewalk or on the laptop. So a high level game would be hopscotch, but we wouldn't have to play hopscotch with our children like we've known hopscotch, make a hopscotch. And have them just hop. 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 2. Do they change feet? It's that higher level of understanding their bodies when they're doing it. So they can draw shapes, they can color. They can do this on the ground kneeling. Watch like Mrs. Jason talked about that 4-point, giving the input to their bodies. The other thing that happens is the concrete gives resistance, and so they're getting that information to their muscles about what they're doing. Make a sensory pad. Put arrows. They have to follow that. Make them big, straight. And see if they can walk through that figure 8. That's a tricky one, but if they can do it, they're going to have some higher level skills coming really soon. So all of these things you can do. You can practice their letters. Have them write their name. What a great thing to know, to write your name. You can do it on the sidewalk and everybody can see it. So these are really important things to kind of try. You can also do those jumping and walking over. So maybe you're not supposed to step on the triangle, but you can step on the square. Those kind of things. So they're following directions. Those are all really good skills used with the chalk outside. So the next thing that's really fun, we're missing it during this COVID time, is playing in water and sand. So this is my sand. You can scoop and pour. So take a little trip to the beach. I just buy play sand. You can buy it at Walmart or some like Home Depot and stuff. It's not very expensive. And I put it in bins. At my house, I have a Rubbermaid bin that we have in the backyard. And we play in it. And we scoop. And we use all kinds of stuff that's from the house. So we can scoop and put it into a bowl. Now this tends for higher level skills when you want to do kitchen activities because they practiced it outside using the sand. So those are all really good things that they could be doing. You can even take some of your utensils out and they can do stirring. All those things that you could do in the kitchen, you can do in the sand. Also like, we can use food for stringing activities. So you can use Cheerios. I have Fruit Loops here because they're colored. And these are pasta that I colored. And a shoelace. You simply take your shoelace, put a knot in the bottom, and then they're able to take those home-based items and work on these skills. Again, this is bilateral. It's using their eyes together, their hands together. It has a purpose. They could make a necklace and give it to you. How exciting would that be? The colored cereal, they can do some higher level academic skills. So what color is that? Oh, it's a yellow one? Nice job. You put the yellow one on. Can you find the purple one? These are all things that you can do at home. When they get to the point where they can do patterning, you can do that too. Some of the students aren't ready for that quite yet, but if they can do this stringing, we can build upon that skill and get more skills developed for them. The other thing that we can do with bins is water play. So these are the milk containers from a Happy Meal. I think everybody has had a Happy Meal in their lifetime. So I fill them with water, and they can pour them in the bin. They're learning how to take the caps off. It's highly motivating to be able to do something that you usually get in trouble for. Because we don't want the kids opening up stuff and pouring it. But when it's time to do it, it's really a lot of fun. And they can use those cups, and they can scoop it. They could try and pour it back in. All kinds of fun that we can have with water. And with the nicer weather coming, they can do it outside. Now when we get to kitchen activities, again, these spoons are such a great thing. Tongs are another piece of equipment in the kitchen that we can use that really teaches a lot of skill, eye-hand coordination, open close of our hands with purpose, and strengthening of our hand muscles. So you can go as small, I don't know if you can see this, but these are raisins. Lots of raisins. And I'm picking them up with the tongs. And I'm going to put them in an ice cube tray. And let's see how many I can get in there. Maybe you can do some counting. Maybe this is snack time. Maybe they get stuck. Yeah. So that's one thing you can do. You can do it with the cereal too. You pick it up with the tongs. Such an awesome thing to do. Not expensive. It could be stuff that you have at home already. And then to food. So some of the food I brought are things that most of us have in our homes. I'm going to use a plastic knife. I would never ask you to have your child use a knife. I don't think it's safe. But for this, maybe you could help them. So if they could peel a banana, such a good skill, it's an independent skill. Peel the banana. Now that we're going to ask them to cut it so that they can eat a little bit at a time. We're just going to ask them to take the knife and make cuts with the banana. It gives a little bit of resistance, but then they can eat it, and maybe that will motivate them to do this.
They could take the tongue and eat the banana.
There you go.
Something silly, something
And then
fun.
they could take the tongue and eat the banana. Another thing that they can do is square pieces of cheese. If they could fold them. That's another skill that we have to use the little muscles in our fingers. And this happened to be square, so now I have 4 squares. And they could even talk about how many pieces of cheese they have now. Maybe they could put it on crackers. Another really good task to do is to take grapes off of the stem. Because we have to use those little muscles in our fingers to pull them off. Then we have to put them in something. So maybe you'll have a salad. Maybe you'll have a bowl that they get to eat from after they've done this. Again, you can do counting. And they've learned a really wonderful skill to be able to take with them to do higher level. We can then work on maybe helping with meal preparation. Because if they have these skills to do this, they could help you pour something you measured into a bowl. They can stir. They can help scoop things out. All of those skills are really important when we're teaching our children life skills. Stir up, maybe you're making a fruit salad. The other thing that we can do is maybe it's time to put everything away. So how do the bowls fit together? Another really good problem-solving activity. This doesn't work so good, but this would work better. And this one can go inside of here. And then you can do that, much like the cup stacking, you can do it with a bigger piece of home-based materials in the bowls. other thing that you can do, and I didn't bring an example, is you can have them cut cheese into cubes, maybe a cube of cheese, and have them slice it, and then use toothpicks to have them pick up the piece of cheese that they're going to eat. The other thing that you can do is use beans or peas or popcorn and make what we call a sensory box.
So if you notice, a lot of the things that we're trying to do is stuff that can be around the house or seems kind of easy. Honestly, we do a lot of things for our children and not even realizing that they can probably do it themselves. Because let's face it, it's faster if we do it than have them do it. But sometimes we're helping our children by taking a step back and just letting them struggle a little bit, maybe giving them a little bit of help and trying to see how they're going to progress. So this is just a simple sensory bin that I made. It's got from the dollar store. Got some beans, and you can do all the scooping that Ms. Greer was talking about. They can put their hands in it, see how it feels. I just have some little random toys. You can hide the toys in it. I have some shapes, so maybe we're going to hide the shapes. And they go in and they try to explore, try to find it. Kids often really like this. It helps to calm them. They like the way the beans feel. And it's not very often that they get to play with food like this. So you can just cover it up and then put it away. And then when you're ready to play with it again, you can get it out and watch it with them, play with them.
We also talked about while you're doing these activities, you can go in some of those different positions. It doesn't have to be standing. It doesn't have to be sitting. You can go in that tall kneel. You can go from tall kneel and then have to stand up to place something maybe on the counter or on the table where they're not working, so that they get those muscles really strong.
Repetition, repetition, repetition. That's what I have to say, a lot of it. If you're in the kitchen and you want a little helper, your child can be great at it. Put the little step stool next to you, have the spoon over there. They have to get the spoon, walk up the step stool. Oh, I forgot to get the sugar or something. Have them walk down and go get the sugar. Like I said before, we don't realize how much work a child does every day. If we were to follow them around and to move as much as they do, we'd be completely exhausted. So we just want to keep giving those opportunities for them. And all those great examples that Ms. Reeder pointed out, it's just things that happen every day. So they can start to peel their banana, start to cut their banana. It makes them feel big and old, and they like accomplishments. Those little accomplishments make them feel really good, and they want to help, and they want to do it more. And you're helping them develop and learn.
The other thing you might want to keep in mind with spring and summer coming really soon is if you are in a situation where you have a garden or you plant flowers outside, please let them help. It's such a good activity for them, and then they get to see what happens when they do their work. They get to see flowers blooming. They get to see vegetables growing. So all of those things would be really important for them to be able to see and know that efforts make a difference.
Digging in dirt is a great experience for kiddos. We don't want them to be dirty, but that's honestly how they learn, is to explore and get a little dirty, crawl in the sand, crawl in the grass, play in the dirt.
And then you get to go in and take a bath and or water play in the bathtub. So all of those things are really good, and then you can work on independence with clothing management and all those kind of things. Preschool age children should be able to undress themselves and do some basic putting things on. By the time our kids are in kindergarten, we should be expecting them to be able to dress themselves reasonably. I mean, if there are fasteners that are real challenging, but putting their coats or jackets on and off, shoes on and off, not tying, but those kind of skills, and we do that every day. So the repetition is built into our days. And we want our kiddos to be independent as possible so that they feel good about themselves, and they kind of lighten the load for us. So that's a good thing too.
put a little bit of time in the beginning, it helps pay off a little bit more in the end. And when you're on the floor playing with your child, there's no better time than that. Like I'll say, those times go quick, so enjoy it when you can.
Now, if you have any questions, first of all, if you didn't get any of the handouts or the bags, they're available in the vestibules of each of the buildings. They're white plastic bags with chalk, beach balls, and bubbles in them. And next to that box with those bags in it is a box with the handouts. Now, the handouts are two things that are stapled. So one of them starts with our title page that says Let's Play, and the other one is a packet of children's yoga poses. And this has been given to parents in the program for probably the last 6 years because the kids really enjoy them. There's a little saying on the back that explains how to make.
Yeah, the directions are on the back of the pose. Kids really love yoga poses. It's a great way to work on all the strengthening that we were talking about before. Their kids become more aware of their body. They have better focus, better attention. It's a great resource. This is really nice to pick up. Just look for it. You can make a game of it too. You can do the poses with them. You can always live it up. Another resource in there is there's 2 sheets of websites that you can refer to that give other examples for play and explain sensory development and sensory information a little bit as well. There's just some great resources. We talk about gross motor and handwriting skills and how they relate together. There's a little one in here that says, "What's your name?"
There are activities to do based on the letters of your name. For example, A is 10 jumping jacks. H is 10 front lunges. So they could pick up a letter or make a letter, or you could make a letter or yell out a letter. You could look on the list. Okay, so we're gonna do some leg rolls.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
They can spell their name. You can spell your name, everyone's name, and then everyone does those exercises. There's just a bunch of great little more ideas as to what to do for your kids this summer. Stay busy.
We're so glad you joined us. Now we'll have the chat open if you want to ask any questions. And of course, please pick up those resources at your schools.
All right, everybody, thank you so much to our presenters for all of that awesome information. And parents, don't forget to also let your child's teacher know that you did attend our Zoom session here today so they can kind of mark you off the list. And this is also being recorded as well, so if you ever want to come back and rewatch and get any additional information that you maybe have missed, that will be up as well. But everyone is free to go. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and please feel free to ask any questions if you have any. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.